This is Bob Ambrosio. Welcome to another product briefing from LawNext and Law Sites. Today we're going to be hearing about Opus 2. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of the company and who it serves, what it does, and then dive into an actual demonstration of the product. Here to help us do all of that are two executives from the company. I'm going to let each of you maybe kind of just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do. Beau, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, happy to. Bob, thanks for having us. Beau Wysong, I'm the CMO of Opus 2, responsible for all of our go-to-market efforts, our marketing efforts, and everything we do to spread the good word.
Thanks, Beau. And Kim.
Thanks, Bob. I'm Kim Bookout. I am Director of Solution Consulting here at Opus 2, and I lead a global team of solution consultants that really help our users configure and use the platform. So I think I have the best job in the company.
It sounds like fun. So let's kind of start. Could you kind of just give me a little bit of the background of Opus 2, how it got started, how long you've been in business, and what do you do in a big picture sort of way?
Yeah, so it's a long question to answer, so I'll start breaking it down. But we started roughly 20 years ago in the London courts with a mission to help disputes teams be more organized and efficient, and everything from the collection of the bundle to the operation of in the court. So things like transcription management, evidence display, and over the course of time just became the trusted vendor in that space. And through all of the world's most consequential disputes, we just built this really powerful platform for case preparation management and strategy that we now also sell to law firms as a standalone SaaS solution. And so it's kind of two parts of our business, a reoccurring in the court business, and then also a technology business where we sell SaaS.
And as you say, you've been around since 2008. How is the company, how's the product kind of evolved over those years?
Yeah, it's evolved a lot. And it's really been iterative in tandem with our clients. So, as the system evolves and cases evolve, we've added functionality and brought things along. And then obviously in the last handful of years, so the explosion of AI in the market has opened up a ton of possibilities. And so we're really excited for Kim to be able to show you some of that functionality that we've layered into the platform and the additional value that that's brought to our clients.
Yeah. You started in London, as you said. How has your kind of geographic reach changed over the years?
Yeah. So it's a truly global business. So we're headquartered out of London, and we have obviously a lot of business there. But we've got outposts in Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Hong Kong. Wherever the clients ask us to come, we're there to help support their cases and hearings. And then obviously we have a good faction of employees in the States. So we have an office in Kansas City, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh. But we have a remote employee base as well. So kind of all over the.
And who is the product really for? I mean, who's the audience? Who are the customers that you serve?
Yeah. So we built the product as a powerful platform to help solve issues. And so today we'll talk a little bit about some of the evolution of that and where it's going. But it was really purpose built for disputes, so litigation and arbitration teams. Kim, you're on the front lines helping support, and so maybe a little information around those exact personas and how they see value would be really helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bo. I think it's really exciting to see who is using Opus 2 and how maybe it has kind of shifted and changed over the years. So I actually was a user of Opus 2 before I joined Opus 2. And at that time, I would say Opus 2 was being used primarily by litigation support teams, paralegals, and some attorneys. What we've seen is a complete shift. Now, over 70% of our most active users are associates and partners. They're finding a lot of value in the tool because there's a bit of a hole in the space of with the technology that's available to them on how to really build their case and connect the evidentiary support to their case issues. And they've found that Opus 2 does that beautifully. So I'd say that we kind of support everybody on a case team with different tools within the application.
That's really interesting. Is that change, is that sort of evolution to seeing greater use by attorneys and associates directly? Do you think the technology is driving that, or just that law practice has evolved in some way that it's changed how those workflows happen?
Well, there's no doubt that most partners in law firms are my age now, and I still consider myself pretty young. But we've all grown up with technology. We're doing our own things. We're doing our own typing. We don't dictate anymore. So a lot of things have changed as people have just grown with technology. And then some of it has just been the needs and the requirements by their end clients. They've become more savvy. They have requests and they have expectations that their law firms are going to be using technology in a practical and valuable way. So I think it's a number of things. Beau, what would you say?
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I don't know if you could isolate it to one or the other. I mean, it seems like maybe a little from column A and a little from column B. But to Kim's point, I mean, there has been a meaningful increase in some of the functionality that we're layering in is to better serve that audience that's using the platform as it is.
One of the questions I always wonder about is, and I'm sure you get this question all the time from at least prospective customers, is okay, you're not the only platform on the market that serves this audience and this need in the litigation and dispute space. So why would I want to go to Opus 2 versus some others? What really distinguishes you from the other ones that are out there?
Kim, you want to go first?
Who wants
You
to
know
take
I
that?
wanted to.
Of course you do. Yeah.
I can see you chomping at the
Kim gets
bit.
the
for that.
answer to this question every single day. This is great.
Well, I think some of it is really foundational about the way that our platform was built with our clients. And that's what really makes us unique. We started, Bob, you might know us. I mean, people have thought of us as a transcript management solution, right? We were market leaders in transcript management. And what our clients did was they pushed us to do more and build with them and solve their problems. So while some companies might be able to say our tool was built by lawyers, I like to think that our tool was built by hundreds and hundreds of law firms and legal teams that all work together to help us make our product better. And I think that shows in the tool itself. I mean, people are astounded by all of the small quality of life features that we've baked in because we understand what these case teams are going through at the most critical and painful points of their litigation.
Yeah. Does that suggest that, I mean, the company is nearly 20 years old. Does that suggest that the problem that you solve for your customers has evolved over those years?
I think it's definitely expanded.
Yeah.
I think we still solve those original problems and probably better than anybody, but we've gotten very good at solving other problems. And because of that, it's expanded our reach and the potential for our software. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when I do the demonstration, but our clients are continuing to push us in ways that are exciting and allow us to really rise to some interesting challenges.
Yeah, and I think to add to that too, Bob, there's certainly other players in the space, but I would say there's no one who does it quite like we do and covers the mass from case strategy all the way through into trial. It's a unique differentiator for us to run the full gamut, and we pride ourselves on the partnership with our clients, which you'll hear show up a lot in conversations with our leadership team. But they know that these are really critical moments for their business, and if anything was to go wrong or there's any latency, Opus 2 is there to help and support and add functionality to make things more efficient, perfected. But we know that in the disputes world, it's not something where we can cut corners or not be available to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to getting a demonstration of this. So was there anything else that you wanted to kind of cover before we jump into doing that? Or shall we just go ahead and start the demonstration?
Let's start. You ready, Kim?
All right. Kim, I
I'm
think that
ready.
means you're up.
So I'm going to share my screen and I hope to talk through some of what we've already talked about, but with my virtual prop of using a project. So I hope everybody can see my screen okay. I'm just going to move this out of the way a bit. So we're a web-based application and you have access to all of your projects. I'm going to pop in to one of my projects. And if you can imagine, this is like a standard dispute. It's a contract dispute between two parties. And when I log in, I'm going to see a dashboard. This kind of gives me that 10,000-foot view of my case. It's a really helpful piece for paralegals, partners, people who need to kind of come in and just get some insight. All of these dashboards are customizable. And you can have dashboards for this group or that group. And then we're going to move into documents. And I don't want to spend...
Can I stop you right there and ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
I'm just starting on a new matter. I'm just
Yes.
got a new dispute just come in. How long does it take to just kind of get up and running on a matter? Maybe you're going to cover that later, but I mean, just curious about where does this start?
No, I'm glad you asked because I do think that that's something that where you start can really impact the value that you get from the tool. So we have people who start after the summary judgment motions have been filed and they're getting ready for trial. They still derive great value from the tool, but I would much prefer to see them start as soon as the complaint is filed. Because what can I do with the complaint? I can, and you used to have to do this manually, but I could go in, review that complaint, and start extracting my key issues in my case. What are the legal and factual issues that I'm going to have to establish as my case moves forward? That all starts from the complaint. Then all I have to do is simply link my sources. So I mentioned that the ability to link the evidentiary sources all together to be able to tell your story. I mean, that's all litigators are doing. They're incredible storytellers. If you've ever been to trial or sat on a jury, you know that. Lawyers will look at the jurors
I've
and they
litigated
tell a
cases
very
in my time.
convincing story. There's a lot of work and tedious work that has to go on to be able to tell that story. One of the things that lawyers really need to be thinking about and doing as soon as the case started is developing those factual and legal issues and then thinking about what are the sources that are going to support it. And the more sources that you have, the better your case is. You even have a chance of getting this case resolved either via settlement or mediation or a dispositive motion. So there's a lot of reasons to do this. And you're really connecting all of these pieces together. Who knew information about what? What information did they know? If, recall, we're market leaders in deposition designations and transcript management. If you're pulling this together for trial and you actually have to display video for a juror, you're going to do it here by linking your designations to your issues. I'm going to hit play and you're going to see that those
Can you
video
please spell your
clips
name?
come up beautifully pre-made, saving you a ton of
Sally.
time. I think I mentioned that I used to have to do a lot of this manually, and I did. Back when I was in firm and I was using Opus 2, I would go, and the second my case was opened, I'd start pulling together my cast of characters, the who's who. Who are my 30B6 witnesses? Who are my fact witnesses? And I'd put all of this information together, and my entire case team was delighted with the result, but it took hours and hours. And quite frankly, clients are not willing to spend for that kind of work in 2026 as they were in 2006. So we needed ways to be able to automate some of this. And that's where Opus 2 is really rising to the challenge. So everything you see after documents is a worksheet. I can compile my issues, work on my cast of characters, create a case chronology. All of these things are things that litigation teams and disputes teams are doing every single day. I'm adding notes, sticky notes. I'm linking to organizations. And that I can just be doing naturally while I'm looking at my core case documents. But I can also use AI to help me get there faster. And I'm going to start by let's just look at a transcript. Since we have spent a lot of time talking about transcripts, I feel like it's worthwhile to give that a bit of a closer inspection. So how were people doing this before? And Bob, you're probably already familiar with this. I would have a PDF of a transcript. I would have a highlighter in the color of my choice, and I'd have some sticky notes. And I would be highlighting and adding sticky notes. Opus 2, this is very foundational to what we do. We very early on thought you really have to be able to link your exhibits. You want to be able to go to your testimony, search your testimony, make those highlights electronically, create designations or notes, and share it with your team. Have real, true collaboration. And that's where we started. Now, where we've gone is we now have AI components built right into the application. So for every transcript or document you load, you're going to have automatic summarizations. Now, with transcripts, they're special. So we actually have page line summaries, we have general summaries, narrative summary, every kind of a summary that a lawyer might want to see. Again, when I started, I was doing this manual.
Hmm.
We also do some transcript analysis. So we look for inconsistent testimony. Where did the witness contradict themselves? So I'm back at my key documents, and I think we should start with transcripts because, again, that's why a lot of people come to Opus 2 is they're dealing with a lot of transcripts and a lot of deadlines associated with them. So I'm going to pop open one of my witnesses, and this is Helen Chang. She's a witness in my case. And the way I would have been reviewing this transcript back in the day was with a PDF or even a hard copy with a highlighter and with sticky notes. And there's a number of reasons that that is no longer the way that people want to work today, but namely because you can't really collaborate with your team like that. So Opus 2 was very early on understanding that it was really important to make sure that you have a completely linked record. So I will have my exhibits linked to my transcript. I will have my video linked here so I can play my video. That also allows me to make those compelling video clips. And I can go through and do things like highlight portions of my transcript, create designations, create notes, etc., create even chronology events. Now, that process, while it really advanced the way people were doing this work, is still somewhat manual. And we're always striving to make sure that our technology is keeping up with what is available. And obviously, with Gen A, it has opened up a ton of new possibilities for us. And the very first thing, and the easiest thing probably to do, is to say, how can we use AI to run some deposition summaries? In my career, I have probably completed over 300 deposition summaries the old fashioned way. And it's really jarring how good AI is. I mean, I dare say better than I ever was at creating these summaries. So you'll see we have kind of page line summaries, and you can quickly go to portions of the transcript. We have several other summary types as well. We try to give people lots of options on how they like to see their depositions summarized. We also do some transcript analysis. So we're looking for areas where a witness might have contradicted themselves. We do some sentiment analysis, and the AI is actually amazing at pulling out sentiment from text. And I should note, and I usually do note, that although we have video here, our AI is not looking at the body language. It's really just looking at the text of the transcript, which means you don't actually need to have the video to be able to get this sentiment analysis. So this is showing where the witness might have expressed some fear or anxiety. And you can always click through to those portions of the transcript. We want to make sure that the human stays in the loop at all times. The AI does a really good job of surfacing up insights. The lawyers do their work by validating it with the actual text. We also pull some document analysis. So we're looking for events. What events are discussed in this transcript? And again, creating this chronology is something that a lot of our teams have been doing manually, either in Excel or in a Word document, but essentially they're just typing up event by event. And that is really difficult. And we solve that problem by surfacing these events, but we won't automatically add it to any chronology. Rather, we just give you an opportunity to add the event yourself. Now, all of that typing, that kind of painful part of creating a chronology, we do for you. So we're going to suggest the date. We're going to give it a type and a summary. We will also link it to any witnesses. So all of these events will be linked to that cast of characters in my characters worksheet. And of course, organizations. And then lastly, you might want to just query your transcript, or you might want to point the AI at kind of completing a task. So I could do something as simple as, let's see, I could just say, summarize all of the testimony regarding the breach. I just want to direct the AI and say, look across this transcript and find all of the testimony that supports something that I'm working on. And you'll see it'll come back. Now, these are all very early stage wins that we were able to do with AI. But as Beau mentioned, our clients want more and they will always want more. And so what we then delivered was the ability to take a set of documents and add them to a canvas. You basically drag them into a canvas. And then what we're doing is we're saying, okay, AI, you did a great job on one transcript. How are you going to do with 50 transcripts? Or how
This
are
was
you
going
going
to
to
be
do
my
with the
next question,
transcripts
so
and
you're
exhibits?
anticipating it. This was going to be my next question, so I'm glad you're addressing this.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously, it's exciting when we bring something in, but we have a pretty insatiable market of people who want to have more and more enhancements. And we have a product team, thankfully, that is happy to deliver. So once I have a canvas, I can simply go to my workbench. And this is a place for me to do things in bulk. So, for instance, I'm looking across all of my transcripts and exhibits, and I can see all of the events that have been extracted. So, Bob, when you said, when would you start? I would start by adding my complaint, my answer, and my discovery responses into a canvas and building that skeleton of my chronology and my cast of characters. And then I just keep adding on from there as I go. By the time I get to summary judgment, I have a very clean, efficient, collaborative case that everybody on my team can work on. So yeah, we're pulling out all of the people. If I want to see more information, I simply hover over this icon and I see all of that is stuff I used to have to type. And now the AI is doing it for me. And I can simply select all of my relevant documents and add them to a worksheet.
Could I
Now,
use that to query across multiple transcripts or to do analysis across multiple transcripts? I always have this use case in mind of maybe I've got an expert witness, but I've got transcripts that expert gave, depositions gave in other cases relevant to mine, and I want to kind of go through and see has that expert been consistent across multiple depositions or that sort of thing. Can I do that sort of analysis?
absolutely. And that's exactly what people wanted more of. Now, we do have a query function here, and you could certainly start interacting with it in this way. However, talking through our evolution of our AI journey, this is where I like to switch to our new focus view. And this is a recent, and Beau, maybe you can talk a little bit about how this focus view came to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as we switch between views, I mean, Kim, just you can really notice the difference in UI. So the other is what we call detailed view. So, it's got all the details of the case, all the buttons. And for some users, that's really useful and really relevant because it's everything and I need it all. To others who just want to focus on parts of the case and not have the screen be quite as crowded, you could switch over to focused view. And it is more of an AI native feel. This actually came via acquisition. So it was a place where we wanted to add functionality. And, in the LawNext website, you can find the press release where we acquired a business called Uncover out of the Netherlands. And within 3 months, we had it embedded and fully integrated within the platform. So it's been a really nice step forward for us, and something we've been really excited to put in front of our clients. And, Bob, you asked the question about kind of the progression of the platform. This is the newest kind of big announcement that Opus 2 has made for our litigation business. And so, yeah, like Kim, feel free to show it away.
So, Bob, I'm going to use your use case and I'm going to nail it exactly, I hope. Although I don't have expert testimony in here, I do have a number of transcripts. So, I want to look across those transcripts and see. Let's go ahead and look at all my transcript files. And I want to look across all of my transcripts and say, what were the inconsistent, statements? I don't have my glasses on, but that's okay. AI is good at disregarding misspellings. What were the inconsistent statements in these transcripts regarding the delivery dates and expectations? And I'm just going to let it go. Now, you'll see it's coming back with that information. And not only is it coming back with a response about those inconsistencies, it's providing links to where in the transcripts those inconsistencies live. Now, my prompt was okay. I'm just going to say it's okay. It's not great. And lawyers don't want to become prompt engineers, and I don't blame them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this not great prompt, and I'm going to make it great by using Prompt Builder. And this is one of my favorite things that we put into the platform. So I'm doing contract disputes, and all I have to do is put my not so great prompt in and send it. And what the prompt builder is doing is it's not necessarily sending this off to the LLM, but it's optimizing my prompt. And I think you're going to see that the result shows that you can have a much better output with a better input. And think about how long this would have taken me to type in. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. We always advise people check the do's and don'ts, make sure that that's the way you want it. But I'm going to go ahead and let it rip. Okay. So I'm already liking this output a lot better than what I got with my own prompt. It's got it categorized really nicely. It's broken down by topic. It has direct quotes to the transcript. It's giving me everything I need. Now I can still interact with that detailed view. So even though I'm in this focused view, these insights might need to go into my detailed view. And I can interact with that by selecting these sources and either adding these documents to a collection or linking to a worksheet, downloading, or simply tagging them. And all of that will be reflected in my detailed view for the rest of my team who's working in the case as well. We also were able to bring in something that's pretty exciting, which is a general assist. So everything that you see
Can I
in
ask you a quick
Matter,
question on where you just were? Just is that is that conversational history retained within the platform, and is it available to other members of your team?
good questions, Bob. It can be saved. So I can save my conversation and continue working on this. So let's say transcript analysis. Let's say that, 2 weeks later, I have 5 more transcripts come in. Well, how does that impact this result? I can add those transcripts in and rerun this query and keep working with this conversation. It will be over here in saved conversations. Right now, they're private to me, but Bob, you just teed it up so perfectly. What you've suggested is something our clients have asked for. So we are actually in the final stages of, we'll probably be releasing within the next 2 weeks, the ability to share your conversations with your teammates as well.
Okay, that wasn't a plant. I did not know that.
So on top of having saved conversations that I can access over and over again, I also have the ability to save my prompts. And this is exciting for attorneys whose prompts kind of become their special sauce. So for instance, in my prompt library, I have a killer prompt for making a depot outline. And I want to use that prompt in every one of my cases. And my awesome prompt is what makes me so good at taking depositions. So I'll be able to reuse that and simply pull it in and let it rip. And I can use it for all of my witnesses. Lastly, We also have a general assist. And this is a little bit interesting. I'm going to reset this conversation. This is a little bit interesting because this allows our users to have direct, kind of secure, enterprise level access to an LLM where they can do things that aren't necessarily based on their documents. So, a good example of this is, let's say I am, and this is something that I kind of relate to from my time in firm, say that I am a paralegal who's going to trial for the first time. I've never been to trial. And I don't know exactly what I need to do to be an awesome trial paralegal. So now we have AI that can help. And I can simply say, I am a litigation paralegal who will be going to trial in 2 months. Prepare a checklist for me to use. It's not
And where it
looking at
says
my
family
documents.
law, there, did you put that? I missed it. Did you put that in there or did that?
That is some of our pre-built prompts. So it's
Okay.
actually not using family law as an example because I didn't tag it, but we have a prompt library that we continue to build on, and family law is just one of them. So here, this is giving me an incredible head start on what I need to be thinking about beginning 8 weeks before trial, all the way through the day before trial. It's given me an awesome checklist. And now I just get the benefit of leveraging these incredible LLMs, but in a secure fashion that I don't have to like anonymize my client information, right? We're not training data with this. We're not retaining prompts. So it's an incredible tool for people who just need a little bit of extra help.
And you get back and forth between the detailed view and the focused view, just with that button up in the upper right-hand corner there, is that?
Just with this little toggle, exactly. And I do. I mean, in the course of my day, and it's not just when I'm doing demonstrations, it's when I'm working with case teams who are using this technology. We're constantly just kind of and seamlessly moving back and forth, leveraging insights. And one of the things that I get really excited about, and I think Beau set it up really well earlier in the conversation. We've spent almost 20 building these tools that law firms need and want and ask for. So we have this incredible foundation with all of these worksheets and data tables. And now we can just connect the AI insights to these worksheets to help us build faster. But that also, we have very savvy clients, Bob, as you can imagine. And when they see things like this, like, I've got these worksheets, and it looks like I can create new worksheets from here. And I also have client branded portals where I can share information with my clients. We're kind of connecting them throughout the entire life cycle. What are our savvy clients thinking is, how can I solve more problems with Opus 2, with my technology that I already have? And so, an example, I'm just going to not spend a ton of time on this, but I do want to share an example of how these worksheets could be put together in different ways to solve other problems. So, for instance, this eggs investigation case, it's a real case that's going on with the DOJ about the spike of the price of eggs a couple of years ago. You might remember. Real case. I've just imagined that I'm representing some of these egg producers. And what you'll see is we've just changed our worksheets around a little bit, right? So we still have issues, but I'm also tracking information requests that are coming in from the Department of Justice in my imaginary representation. What are they asking for? And where are we with the status? And I can easily see, what do we still have to respond to? I'm also keeping track of interview questions. So for my witnesses, what do I plan on asking them in an interview, and what documents will I be showing? We are also, we have 3 portals associated with this project. One for witnesses. So as I'm getting ready to interview witnesses at my client's office, I'm going to direct them to this nice portal. I've also given them interview guidance, what to expect when I show up to do your interview. We can give them their interview documents so that they can see all of the documents that I plan on asking them about. So, as you can see, we've continued to expand and think about how can we solve more problems. We've done this for white collar investigations. We've done these for non-litigation matters entirely. We helped a tax and estate group put together a tracking system for um, a huge estates matter they were working on. So the opportunities are endless. And I think that's probably what gets Beau excited about how we can continue to advance the tools inside Opus 2.
Is that all self-service pretty much, or is there configuration required?
We will help with configuration, but you don't need us for that. So we have lots of people in firm who I promise you, their portals look better than mine because they have wonderful design eyes and they know exactly what they want. So all of this can be self-service. And then if you need a little extra help, we're always here to help.
Yeah, I mean, the market announcement we made, Bob, at Legal Week was historically, we had this underpinning platform of documents, worksheets, portals, and visualizations where our clients could see the future and how they could use it to solve other problems. We had chose to keep our team laser focused on disputes and to say that that's a space that we wanted to own and continue to build. And we did that. And, we've got a great platform there that we continue to build on and will continue to build on. But we made the market announcement that we're kind of building a team within our team to focus on these adjacent use cases. So using those different pieces of functionality within the platform to go solve other challenges. And so we partnered with our clients on this. In the press release, we mentioned, 5 or so use cases that have already taken place and what people are doing. But they all kind of aggregate around 2 other buckets that are adjacent to the commercial disputes and matters and what we're calling, collaboration and client engagement, and then legal solution and service delivery. And so really with those firms, we're working with them to take a trusted, known platform and solve a whole variety of problems that they're bringing to us.
Hmm. Okay. It probably seems almost redundant to ask, but I'm just curious if you could address kind of governance and security issues in terms of using this platform.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. We've been through some of the most intense security reviews of the world. And so essentially, the way we have addressed security is very client focused and law firm focused. We deal with people who are under intense pressure and scrutiny to keep their clients' data confidential, secure, and safe. And so we do that by garden walling the data, whether we're using AI tools or whether we're using a data infrastructure, everything's garden walled. We also have and hold multiple security certifications. And again, we have an InfoSec team that works day and night responding to very tough security questionnaires, and we've never missed once.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, Bob, I think it's one of the places with so many new entrants into the legal space. Getting through those security assessments is one of their biggest challenges. And it's also why a lot of our clients have come to us to help solve some of these adjacent problems. It's a trusted solution that's delivered value time and again, and we partner with our clients. And so that's one of the unique identifiers on kind of why they want to use the Opus 2 platform.
Yeah.
Good
W-
point, Beau, because it is not an easy feat to get through a security assessment inside these firms. And so it is very attractive to our clients to not bring something new to their InfoSec team. Let's
mhm.
use what we already have and think about new and exciting ways that we can solve problems within the firm. So nice point.
Yeah. And I wonder if you could also just speak briefly to integrations or partnerships you have with other platforms in terms of document management or e-discovery or even depositions or anything like.
Yeah. I think that's been another interesting thing that I've seen over my career, and you probably have too. There was a point in time where firms said, I want one solution that's going to do everything. And I don't think anyone's thinking like that anymore, but they are thinking, I want all of my solutions talking to one another. And I want to have a seamless integrated experience. And Opus 2 is along for that journey. So we have integrations with e-discovery providers such as Relativity, OpenText. We also have an Office 365 integration. We also work with partners to develop integrations for NetDocs and iManage. Um, very tech-forward firms have access to our developer portal where we publish all of our API information and they can build their own integrations. So that has been a very interesting and exciting trajectory for technology companies, and we're very invested in it.
Okay, I'm out there in the audience. I've been watching this demonstration, and I'm really excited to find out more. What do I do?
Yeah. Well, we hope that's the case. So the easiest way to get a hold of us are the normal channels. Obviously, we have a LinkedIn presence and a company page there. Our website is opus2.com. So OPUS, the number 2.com. And there are easy prompts there to contact us off of there. But yeah, we hope that's the case. We hope everybody who watches reaches out and to give feedback and see how we can help.
Is there a standard pricing model for this? Is it a per user, per matter, or some other formula?
Yeah, it's pretty standard on a usage or sorry on basis.
All right. Well, anything else that either of you wanted to kind of say in terms of wrapping up this presentation today?
I think I've said it all. I don't know if I have any words left to say. I will say how much I've really enjoyed this time with you, Bob, and how much I appreciate it and your thoughtful questions. So thank you so much for having us, Beau.
Same sentiment. Well, I've really enjoyed the time and thank you very much for having us and sharing our story with your membership. This has been excellent.
That's great. All right. Well, Kim and Beau, I really appreciate your time, and I've learned a lot about Opus 2 today. It's been a really informative presentation. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
And for all of you watching this demonstration, I hope you follow us at LawSites at LawNext.com. You can follow LawSites blog there, and you can find all of these videos on YouTube and on our blog. Hope you follow us, and thanks for joining us today. This is Bob Ambrogi. Till next time.